Hi, and welcome to Messages from an Angel. My name is Angel Morgan, and we have an amazing guest on our show today. All of our guests are amazing, but this one is particularly inspiring to me. Her name is Sharon Hay, and she is a Feng Shui master. In fact, she was my Feng Shui master a whole many years ago, and this woman, she has spent the last 4 years in an amazing emotional adventure of survival and rebuilding and rebirthing herself to become Sharon Hay 2.0. So we're going to be back in a few minutes to talk to Sharon Hay, Feng Shui master, speaker, teacher. Stay tuned on Messages from an Angel.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
And we're back with Messages from an Angel, and we're here with Sharon Hay. Welcome.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you on. So tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, all that kind of jazz.
Okay. Like you said, my name is Sharon Hay, and I'm a Feng Shui master. That's what I've been doing for the last over 20 years.
Wow.
Studied all over the U.S. and studied also in Malaysia and in Hong Kong and a lot in the Orient. And I also do coaching at the same time because I also want to help the spirit also with the home. So attach those two together. And so in the last 4 years, I've been healing myself and rediscovering myself and my talents and intuition.
Yes, I'm working very deeply, more deeply even with your intuition. We're going to talk a lot about that kind of stuff. Now, now there are different sects of feng shui, different styles of feng shui. What is your specialty? Like what are the differences between what you do and other types of feng shui?
Well, when you say different types of feng shui, it's almost like what types of different doctors. So you have like baby doctors and foot doctors and brain doctors and bone doctors, but it's all for healing for the body. So in feng shui, we have, there's like a black hat sect they call, which is more intuitive feng shui. It deals with a certain map that you put over your house, and you can adjust different areas of energy so to be conducive to your lifestyle and your goals. So you tie in your goals with moving energy in your home. Then there's the classical feng shui, which is more, it deals with energy that's more historical, so and more with the planets and the energies of the earth.
And it's very intricate. Like the traditional feng shui is very, very intricate as well.
It's very mathematical.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a beautiful style of feng shui, but I don't think my head could get around that fully.
It took me quite a few years to finally grasp the whole concept of it, and to almost become intuitive with that too.
And it truly is a dedication, right? Feng shui is a dedication. It's a lifestyle. It's like you see the books for basics feng shui and all that kind of stuff, and people will take it home and work with it, and you can. But the reality
it's really scratching the surface.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree with you 100%. So, in the last 4 years, you've had a lot happen. Tell us about the journey that you're on. Where did that start?
4 years ago, I was in a head-on collision, and the car was a write-off. I didn't make it out of the car without an ambulance. I went to the hospital, and the first year I had to learn almost how to walk and speak again. I had brain damage, back neurological damage, and balance issues. I lost the hearing in my ear. That my sight was off. So there was a lot of issues that I had to try and get over. And here I was going from, like the day before, I just finished a 5-day course for Feng Shui, where I'm on at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm getting ready for it, and I don't finish like 10 o'clock at night, wrapping up everything, and go, and I'm, Hong Kong 1 week, and I'm in LA the next week, and then Vegas the next week, and next thing all of a sudden, crash. I'm on the couch.
It's very interesting because I remember when you first told me this story, you were actually on the way to the beach. You were feeling fantastic about your life, and it was a beautiful day and everything. You were at the height of, you felt you were at the height of who you were and all this, and then it just changed on a spur of a dime. And it can, right? It can.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, in those last, in the last 4 years, you've kind of been reevaluating life and what it was. And how did you move through it? Like that's a lot. You were saying to me before the show, it's like you even had to relearn humor.
Yes. And compassion and all these things are actually learned behaviors. People would come to me with a problem, you'd be all upset, and people that I knew very well, like very close friends, they'd come to me almost in tears, sharing this problem. And normally, you'd say, you start to feel that yourself and say, oh, I'm so sorry, how can I help? And I would just look at them and think, why are you telling me this? There's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
I remember with one girlfriend, she left my house, and she went out, and she got disoriented, and she got very nervous. She goes, oh, I'm at Eglinton in somewhere, and I don't know where I am, and there's traffic, and people I don't, what am I going to do? And before she left, she had used the garbage bags or something, and all I could say was, where'd you put the garbage bags?
Wow.
And she said, Sharon, don't you understand what I'm in this situation? I went,
there's the disconnect.
Yeah. And she goes, that's when I realized how much the accident actually affected you.
Yeah. And it also, you were saying too, that with this kind of, like when you first, I'm going to backtrack a bit. When you first realized what was going on and what it was going to take to heal. And when they told you what the diagnosis was, what did you feel? How did that make you feel? Like, here's your feng shui career, here's everything, you're at the top of your game, and they're going, you're going to have to rebirth yourself. I mean, what did that feel like? What
felt like the walls were caving in on me. Where I had no walls, like I was traveling the world, had lots of friends, going scuba diving and working, and every morning I woke up, I felt my life cannot get any better. I had the money, I had the fame, I had my kids were awesome. I had this great condo on the lake. Nothing could get better. I woke up every morning thinking that, and I thought, doesn't everybody? And then all of a sudden I'm waking up thinking, I can't work, I can't function. I don't know I forgot where the bathroom was in my own place.
Wow.
I would wander back and forth for hours thinking, what's wrong with me? And realize I'm just hungry. Just things like that. So all of a sudden I thought, okay, now these four walls are like caving in on me. I can't even go out without somebody being with me so I don't get lost going across the street.
That's got to be scary.
It was very scary.
Even as, look at it from the perspective of being an independent woman. All of a sudden, that independence has been cut in half, if not more.
Oh, way more.
Yeah.
By 90%.
Yeah.
Like I say, I couldn't even go outside by myself.
Who was your best friend at the time? Who is that one person that you really helped you through it?
Probably Tavis.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tell us about him a bit. Because I met him once. I loved his energy. He's pretty awesome.
Yes. He's a very cool guy. He is huge heart.
Yeah.
Biggest heart I've known from anybody. And he would come check on me. It took him a while to realize, like, I looked fine. Like, everyone would say, well, you look fine, you look great. It's all over now, is it? And I go, oh, no, it's not over.
What you see on the surface is not what's happening inside.
Yes, they call it the invisible injury. With the brain.
Injury.
Yeah, with the brain injury, traumatic brain injuries. So he didn't get it at first. He was, okay, what are we going to do with the business? Because he was in the business with me at the time.
Yeah.
And what are we going to do? And what about a relationship? And, because you can't function like you used to. And what are we going to do with the kids? And what are we going to do with this? And we got this vacation coming up. And I was supposed to do a course in Calgary in a couple of weeks. And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, oh, he didn't, it took him a while to get a handle on that. He didn't know if I was being evasive. He goes, why aren't you answering my questions? Like, he didn't get it.
And that's hard. Like, when people go through those transformations and those transitions, it really starts to show you who your tribe is, who those people, your support systems are.
Yeah.
I was saying on the last show, when I was going through my transformation, which was not as dramatic as this, I had somebody literally say to me, I liked you better when you were a pushover. And it's like, well, now I know where I stand with you. But the reality is you start to see those ones who are truly meant for your life. Yeah. I remember my aunt had, I can't remember, Huntington's disease. And my uncle decided that, you know what, I can't handle it, and he put her in a home. And from there, he's like, I want a divorce, I need another life. And he did what he could with the tools he had.
Yes, I can totally understand that.
Like, it was a really, really, it was a hard time. But then you saw our face. She was my family's sister-in-law, my mom's sister-in-law. But my family was there. Like, even after the divorce, they were there. They saw her every day. They went with her. She was still family. Yeah. It's amazing who becomes that support system and who falls away. And there's nothing, my uncle made choices that were strong for him, but the reality is you see who's there and what your close circle is.
And what your talents are. Like with Tavis, he was checking in on me and got me through the first part of it, but then he couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle his own life, which was, then he was in an accident. He got hit by a transport trailer while he was on a bike.
Wow.
His head bounced off the grill. Very much the next year, within almost 12 months. And so then he had his own healing, but my daughter was home, and she took a long time. She didn't get it in the beginning, and then she left, realized that, yes, Mom's always been there for me in my life, and she came back, and she told me that. She said, Mom, you've always been there for me. Let's work on this together. Yeah. So she helped me out a lot at home. And I had another friend that was with me always in the sports side of things, and he got me back on the bike. Nice. Like, I didn't think I'd ever be able to ride a bicycle again. And I used to do triathlons.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if you didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that. This is a new piece of information.
I used to do a triathlon every weekend.
Good. I have my hero coming up. Do you want to come? Because I still have a space. Do you want to be on our team?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it after the show.
I'm in.
So you didn't know whether or not you were even going to be able to
Not even to ride a bike or scuba dive or ski again.
Where did you find this strength? Where did you find this ability to say, this is where I am and this is where I can get to? Like, you hear people go, sorry?
Help. People had to help me. Like I said, to get on the bike, this friend of mine, he said, you're getting on the bike. I said, I can't, I'll kill myself. He said, you're getting on. And I think he said that mostly because I looked okay.
Yeah.
He knew I was off balance.
Knew that, yeah, right.
And I got on the bike and it was like I never had a problem at all.
Wow.
And I asked my physiotherapist, and he said, and he described the whole thing scientifically. We were talking about science before.
Yes, which we will talk about, yes.
And he said, well, when you're walking, you have to take 1 foot off the ground. So the only amount that's on the ground that you feel solid to is a space this big.
Yeah.
With a bike, it's this much. There's a front wheel and a back wheel, and it never leaves the ground.
Right.
So it's a lot easier to keep your center of gravity in where you want it to be. So it's easier for me to ride a bike than it was actually to walk.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So did you feel at the end of this journey inspired by those around you?
Yes. I woke up every morning blessing my gods, my beautiful energy, and spirituality, that these people were in my life at the right time for me, because I don't know how I would have got through it, through all the doctor's appointments and assessments and the insurance issues and family. Some family, I never saw again after that, because I was the one who was the connector.
Yeah.
I would call them all the time, and all of a sudden I don't remember calling to call. And certain friends where I was always traveling with, and I couldn't travel for a while, so they kind of fell off. Yeah, you really know who your tribe is, for sure. But I just rediscovered my own intuition. And
we're going to talk about your intuition.
Yeah.
When we come back, we're going to our first break. This is Messages from an Angel, and we're here with Feng Shui master, speaker, teacher, Sharon Hay. Hi, and we're back. Now, we left our last segment just about ready to talk about intuition. I'm gonna go back to the accident, because I remember you told me that you had something happen in that moment of the accident, that there was a really spiritual happening. Want to tell me a little bit about that? Tell us about that.
Yes. Like you mentioned before, that morning when I woke up and I was getting ready and I had just finished my course, I left the house with one of the most euphoric feelings.
Wow.
Like if I just won the lottery, or everything was perfect in my life. Like I was on this cloud. And then I go out and I get into this accident 5 minutes from my house, not even, just one block. I just turn out of the driveway, go along the road, and smack, I get ran into. So there was an impact. The car spun. The glass shattered. I had blood running down from my face, and everything went quiet. And then all of a sudden, as I'm trying to open my eyes, it seemed like the windshield was gone, which it hadn't in reality, whatever reality. In my vision, the windshield was gone, and it was sort of a cloud-like. And all of a sudden, these hands were coming in for me. And I knew they were the hands of my mother, my father, my sister-in-law, my husband, and who were all passed away, and my best friend. And I could hear their voices, and I wanted to go with them. It looked like the hands were coming in to reach in for me, and you want to go with them. I thought, these are all the people I love. Yeah. They love me, and I know this. It's like all this love. And then all of a sudden, I heard this voice that said, "You are an angel, but you're an angel on the earth." And then all of a sudden, the hands disappeared. All of a sudden, I saw the glass again, and then all of a sudden, the noise with the ambulance, the people banging on the window, and
very cinematic.
Yeah, and then I remember it just had this thought the whole time in my mind. And even when the ambulance attendant got there and they got me into the ambulance, I'm just there, and they put the brace on me. They strapped me down onto a board, slid me out of the car. I'm in the ambulance, and I was smiling. And they said, "You're the most calmest accident car crash victim we have ever seen." I'm like, it's okay, because I was still in that euphoric feeling from when I got into the accident, and then the warmth and the love, and I just thought, I'm good.
And I think maybe that's that's part of
my face is all bloody and my hair is all. I'm thinking I'm looking good. I go, "Hi, who are you guys?" And all I can remember is I couldn't move anything. I just looked straight up at the ceiling, and I could just hear their voices.
Yeah.
And I heard a voice too while I was in the car, and they had to two people had to jack open the car door.
The jaws of life kind of thing?
No, just two street people, because the door the wheel had caved into the car, like it was all crumpled up, and they couldn't get the door, and the car was filling with smoke.
Oh, okay.
And so they were like, open the door, and I could just barely manage to get my finger up and open the door. And there was I remember this voice, he was there all the time with me, and he said, "You're going to be fine, we've called the ambulance, tell me about your day, what's your name?" And it was this calm, soothing voice. And I said, "You keep asking me all these questions." He goes, "Yeah, we just want to make sure you keep awake and everything will be fine." And then when I asked the police officer later, I said, "Did you get the name of the guy that was beside the car the whole time?" He said there was no one there. And I never saw a face. I just heard this voice, this very calming and soothing voice.
You gotta love it. Like,
through the
see,
whole thing.
this is the way it works, right?
Yeah.
This is the way
I just got goosebumps.
works. I know, me too. You understand? I have goosebumps. It's rare that I get goosebumps.
Yeah.
But these.
And it's warm in here.
Yeah, and it's funny. It is really actually. Is it just me, guys? Is it extra warm in here today, or is it just me? And if it's just me, just let me know. Well, of course we're under the lights too. Let's not reach, Angel. But these are the kinds of happenings that you do hear about.
I've heard about them. Now I've experienced it.
Well, one of the things that I've always known and I've been taught as an energy worker is that in those moments, in that time, one of two things can happen is that what happens is the body gets a shock and it opens a center up. It opens up, it makes you vulnerable, it makes you open. And that vulnerability is what allows us to connect to spirit. So it's like a door that opens, right? Just that impact, that shock. And all of a sudden there's this channel that's completely open, and angels, guides, guardians, ancestors, they can all talk to you, right? And then the second scenario is that you have this near-death experience where the spirit actually physically comes out of the body and steps into that realm where they give a choice, and they kind of go, okay, you know what, do you want to come with us or do you want to stay? In your particular case, I think that door was open, and so you could get that information. But one of the things that I think also, and that's just me if you don't mind, one of the things that is they actually were there to give you that warmth, to give you that comfort, so that when you had that aftermath, you were in that euphoric state because they knew you were going to be okay. So they wanted to make sure you knew you were going to be okay. Right? But that voice is incredible. I love that. I had someone who was bike riding when they were 17, and they heard a voice, and the voice said something to the effect of, "When was the last time you had an accident?" And he turned around in his head and went, it was like last year. "Well, you're overdue." And he hit a pothole, and to this day he's still dealing with the injuries of that at 17. But he goes, "I knew, I heard it." He goes, "I heard it." So this is something that's not an uncommon circumstance, but when it does happen, it really gives you that knowing, not just believing, but that knowing that there's something else out there. Right?
Usually, if I'm going to be put myself in danger, I get a poke in the ribs.
Really?
Yeah. It's like, and I think then I start to look around
it's
and
like,
say,
okay, what's going on?
Yeah. Okay. So the
Spidey
next
sense.
hour, I'm on total alert.
Yeah.
And this day, it was totally the opposite. So it was actually meant for a reason. I had to go through it to stop where I was going. I think I might have been spinning out of control a little bit because, like I said, I was here and there. I wasn't sleeping. I was just like changing my suitcase at home, packing it, and then out again.
Maybe they
across Canada, across the world.
Well, maybe they just needed you to rebalance. You know, what is meaningful for you and what is becoming, because you know you do find, and I don't see that happening to you because I never saw that of you. But there are those people who lose themselves in the business, right? Lose themselves in the corporate side of it, and all that kind of stuff. And when you have to go back to those basics and those grassroots, so to speak.
I was totally having fun.
I know. But see, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you know, but now there's also another option here. One of the reasons, and we could sit here all day and wonder what the reasons are, right?
Yes.
We could do that. But one of the other things we did talk about before the show was that your intuition has now grown.
Yes.
And it's become deeper. You know, it's like a superhero who falls in the vat, like before they're superheroes and they fall in the vat of toxic waste, and then all of a sudden they're like the Joker. So he's one of my favorites, which says a lot about me, but you know. So for you particularly, you have found that your intuition has grown and has deepened. And tell me a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I think, like I said, I was like going off the charts, just busy, busy, busy. So I wasn't using my brain anymore.
Yeah.
I wasn't using my intuition. I wasn't using my spirituality. I was just on go, go, go. Okay, I got to go here. I got to go do this. I got to say this. Everything was on very superficial, I think. And then all of a sudden, bam, it's like, okay, now you're going to sit down and you're going to get into your brain. Like you're going to now start using the more subconscious part of your brain. I had to sit there and think, how do I get over this? And all of a sudden I realized that once all these distractions were gone and it was just me and the universe, all this stuff started coming in, and I'd have a dream and it would come true. And have a dream, have it come true. And then I'd be, someone would start to talk, and then I'd say, well, blah, 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 blah. And they go, I was just about to say that. You know, something about that just happened to them. There's no way of me knowing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's like we were talking before the show started as well. You start to really, as each instance happens, your confidence grows. You kind of have to sit there and go, okay, we were talking about probabilities, right? And the reality is the more it happens to you and the more accurate you are and the more you get these little things, the more you're starting to go, okay, the probability of this stuff not being real has now been minimized, you know, and as you go, you're going to continue to strengthen those abilities. And that is what's going to happen, right? Because it's like I was saying before the show, again, you know, I want to see where you're at in a year, 2 years. That's going to be amazing, because now you're also teaching as well. You're also going to get back into Feng Shui teaching, but more than that, you're also going to start speaking. And what are you going to speak on? What are the things that you want to talk about besides Feng Shui? Because I think you want to do more than that now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So more on the side of like Feng Shui was, you know, how do I arrange my house? How do I arrange my business? How do I arrange my building, my school, whatever place it was that people be in? How do I arrange it to be conducive to my energy? Now I want to actually tell people how to use their energy to be conducive to their goals. Like, yes, you can Feng Shui
whatever
the heck out of your house.
But how does that coincide?
But then you can sit there and wait for things to happen. But if you don't change your mentality, you know, it'll work. It might work this much, but if you really want to work to its fullest potential, you got to get jiggy with it.
And that's what we talk about. It's that whole idea that you got to meet it halfway. Energy work is wonderful, but it's like if I open, you know, if you do something that's Feng Shui, that opens the door. You have to step in.
That's right.
You've got to step through. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that when we come back on Messages from an Angel.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Hi, and we're back. So just so you know, this is a call-in show. So if you're around, 647-931-4701, and you can call us and you can talk to Sharon yourself and ask her questions about Feng Shui or her journey. But please feel free to do so, or you can comment on Facebook or YouTube, and we will get your comments and we can answer them from your comment section as well. Where can people find you? How can they connect with you as you move on and into the work you do?
Okay, I do have Facebook pages for Sharon Feng Shui by Sharon Hay, and also Sharon Hay International. One is the Feng Shui, which is more personal for people's homes, and then Feng Shui International is more for businesses, because I've done like a 24-story residences and schools and things like that.
You were actually talking about Joey Yip, yes?
Joey Yip.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, my apologies. And you were working with him on something very specific in Malaysia. Tell us about that a little bit.
Well, I took my master's there, and part of the final master exam was 5 different case studies. One was a shopping center, a huge shopping center. One was a graveyard, a large cemetery, which was very cool.
Very cool.
And the third one was a brand new condominium complex that was going up. So there was the sales office, and then the construction was going on that. And the other one was a shell building that was already there, but they were renovating some of their offices. So we had to, the case study was, where would you put the CEO? Where would you put the accounting department? What would happen if you put someone in this area? So based on things outside, the influences of the energy outside the buildings, and then also inside.
That's amazing.
So I took that information. So I was actually graduating in the top 6% of, I don't know, over 100 people in Malaysia.
That's amazing.
So I graduated with distinction, which is on my certificate. And because I asked him, why don't you and I team up on some of these larger places in Toronto? And he said, Sharon, you can do it on your own.
And that is amazing validation,
wow.
right?
Terrific,
it's validation from someone, like we were saying, that you admire and that you respect, and who's someone who's very well established within the field itself.
Yeah.
I would love to.
So I went on to do the 24-story residence at Dundas and Spadina and College for the University of Toronto. They put my plaque saying Feng Shui by Sharon Hay in bronze on the front of the building.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, so that's going to be forever.
Congratulations.
My grandchildren will be looking at it. And also the Centennial College in Scarborough.
Wow.
They wanted me to put my plaque on there. So I hope to have lots more bronze plaques up around Toronto on these large corporations.
Absolutely. What I'm going to have to do is get you on the show. We can talk about Feng Shui specifically and what that is and how it works and the Bagua maps, and we'll do a detailed. If you're into that, I would love to have you on.
Yeah, it's all come back to me now. It's taken a long time. Like the 4 years I've had to go over my books and whatnot. And
we're going to have we're going to have a Sharon Hay Feng Shui day. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have a Sharon Hay Feng Shui day. Yes, awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah, people can find me on LinkedIn too.
On LinkedIn, okay, yeah, and I love LinkedIn, so that's always a great place to connect with people, you and that kind of stuff. So that's awesome. There was something I wanted to ask you that was very, very specific about Feng Shui. Okay, so if you have, that's what I wanted to ask. If you have someone who's going through something like an accident, like that kind of thing, are there, and I ask that very specifically because of what you've been through. When you were going through what you did you have your home Feng Shui'd specifically for the needs you were going through at the time?
Yes, that's a very interesting thing that you brought up, because I Feng Shui'd it when I first moved in, which was 8 years ago. And because my life was so transient, like I lived out of a suitcase, I Feng Shui'd my house for stability. So when I came home, I'd feel relaxed and stable and at peace and harmony and comfort. So then I realized that after I had the accident, I felt stuck. So it was too much that way?
Yes.
And so, like you were saying...
Too much stability at that point.
Too much stability. Yes. I go, I need to heal. I need to move on. I need
and that's it.
And
everything changes, right?
That's
so
right.
1 year you might need that stability, but then it's going to shift. You might need something else. So Feng Shui is very much
any
evolution.
Big event in your life, you have to do the Feng Shui in your house.
Very interesting you say that, because a lot of people think once you Feng Shui'd your house, that's it.
Yeah,
right?
it's not an event, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah,
It has to change with your lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then I had to change the Feng Shui for healing. And for focus, because I had the brain injury, so I had to learn how to focus, how to get my speech back, but for healing and for growing. So it was more of the so before it was more of the earth energy for stability, and now it has to be for healing, which is more of an active type of energy, which are
fire, water.
More the I want to say plant, but it's wood energy.
Oh, wood energy.
Yeah,
okay.
wood for growth.
Yes. Okay.
Branches and flowers and.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
so did you bring in more plants? Did you bring in more?
I painted my whole place green.
Get out of town! Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, beautiful light green.
But the colors are very important too. Like it's it's depending on the green that you're using, what you're going through, all those kinds. Now, Feng Shui can be used for pretty much anything, really. Yeah. Can it not?
I even threw out my furniture.
Did
I got rid of my furniture. But I thought, because it was so heavy.
Right.
And so a lot of wood. So I went for whites, which white is for focus.
Yeah.
It's for intuition.
So then your perception has changed as well on life, right? Yeah. So as your perception of life changes, and this is something that I talk about all the time on this show too. It's that whole idea is as you evolve, as you shift vibrations, all of a sudden that home that you've been comfortable in for the last 20 years, you wake up and go, it's time to move. It's time to change. It's time to, and you're going, why? It's, why is it this, the people on the street have changed. No, you've changed, people. All of a sudden, friends, like we said, our tribe changes, everything, because we're evolving and we're shifting and we're changing. Yes. And that's a really, really great example of that. You're going from this heavy furniture to white and light furniture.
Yes, very light furniture. Out with a big heavy coffee table, in with a nice light one.
Wow.
And a lot more space, more energy to move.
So now you have a new condo. You just bought a new condo that's going to be closing. Mm-hmm. So now you're moving from that energy into this. What is this going to look like?
Oh, it has a lot more natural light, which is what I need in my life. And that was the biggest reason for it. It's facing more of one of my personal energies, my personal power directions. Yeah. My other one was facing my second or third best. This one is going to be my number one best personal energy direction. A lot more light, and I'm just going to do it for healing and for intuition, and I still like that feeling of being light and whatnot, because I want to start moving again. Yeah. Before it was like too much movement. Now I need to start moving again and growing.
But you're also accessing that healer within. Yes. Right, and that's something too. And I noticed something in what you said at the beginning of the show. You were saying, it was very superficial in the work I was doing. I was working with it and I understood it and what have you. Yeah. And now you're using words like natural light, right, and whites and this kind of thing. Yeah. So even your verbiage has changed from the beginning of the show to now, and it's just you can see the evolution, right? And it's so. I mean, that's really cool. To watch. But I have to tell you, you walked into the space today, and you look amazing. You do. You look fabulous.
So do you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The reality is, though, is you do look more in your body. You do look more natural, and it's wonderful. I mean, you've always looked gorgeous. I remember being at one of your sessions with someone, and the first thing he said when he left was, "Wow, she's stunning. Absolutely stunning." And you are, but now you have a different kind of stunning. Like you walked in and there's this energy that follows you. And this energy is so connected in such a deep way.
I definitely feel a lot more connected.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before I was like I've always felt one step ahead of myself.
Yeah.
And my body kind of caught up.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly.
And now I'm like here and I'm present. And what's happening now? And I ask myself now, what am I doing now? Before it'd be like, everything was written down.
And you're trusting spirit more too. You're trusting yourself more. You're trusting your own higher self, right? And allowing that to evolve. Like that's amazing, right? That is just an amazing thing. So if you would have advice for somebody who is going through something similar, whether it's an illness, whether it's an accident, but they're having to rebirth themselves, they're having to reevaluate who they are, what would you say to them?
The hardest thing for me was that it takes time. Like we're used to, you break your arm, it's healed in a few weeks. Right. You get an ear infection, you take some medicine, it's healed in a few days. This could take years. In the first year, I was beating myself up like, hey, I get over everything really quickly, but it takes time. So trust yourself, try to be as positive as possible about it. Every day, find something to celebrate.
I love that. Yeah.
So even if it's, I didn't have to ask somebody to where the bathroom was, or I didn't have to. I actually went out today on my own. I just stepped outside the door, and I just looked at the flowers and walked back in. But I got outside today. These little tiny celebrations.
And we forget to do that. We forget to do that in everyday life as well.
It's too conditioning us to think of the negative things, like, oh, I was in the traffic jam today, and I'll say to somebody,
rather than turn
what
going,
did you see? What
did
you see when you were sitting in that traffic jam? Well, actually, I looked around and there was a really nice garden out the side of me.
Yeah, and look at all the time I have to like sit and think. I've got some time to think. I've got some me time. That's my me time. Traffic jams for me are me time.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. I think you're absolutely correct in that. And we're going to talk a little bit more about, how people can feel inspired when we come back in our last segment. And thank you so much for being here. I'm really enjoying this.
Thanks for inviting me.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Hi, we're like gabbing between, we do. You have to understand that when you do a show like this, whether it's radio or television, there's like so much that happens between segments. We should actually do a show specifically on between segments. Like we should start filming Anisha all the between segments and then do like a special for all the shows. This is what happens when, because there's so much that happens in that point. So when you work with Feng Shui, in closing, what are a few tips you can tell people, just kind of a basic thing, if they're interested in Feng Shui, how could they start? What are the steps they can take to nurture that interest?
What most people do is they'll pick up, like you say, one of the very easy 101 Feng Shui books, and then they find that could be a little complicated, but there's usually things in it that they can start with. Like when I first started with Feng Shui, I just found like it was being presented to me. Saw it on TV, then I saw it in a magazine, and then someone gave me a book. And so I read the book, and then I started to ask questions, and then you talk to a Feng Shui professional. Oh, what I was going to say was I started doing things in the book, and then all of a sudden I thought, well, I don't know if this is, is this hearsay? Is it folklore, Chinese folklore? And then I try a couple of things. I tried one thing and it kind of worked, and I tried another thing, and I kept thinking, oh, it's coincidence, and after the 100th coincidence,
it's not coincidence,
there is something to this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just try pick up one of these little easy books and try a few things. And
I remember, you know how I found you? It's really funny.
How did you find
I was
I forget.
I'm glad you asked. I was actually taking classes at the time. I had done Reiki. I just started energy work. I was taking herbology class. I was doing all this kind of stuff. And I started, like you said, like there was Feng Shui. I read about Feng Shui in a magazine. It started coming up. And I thought, but it doesn't feel intuitive. There were so many numbers, and you had to use a compass and this and that. And it just seemed so intricate. I thought, I wish there was something here that was intuitive, that was like just more intuitive. And all of a sudden, I'm on the internet, and your name pops up, and this black hat sect thing. And I'm like, what is it? And Sharon Hay, intuitive Feng Shui. And I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I've been looking for. that's the price range I've been, she's got a class coming. It all fell into, it's like you put it out there. Like for me, I put it out there, and then all of the signs kind of came together. And that's how I found my Reiki teacher too, in fact. And I was actually shown I would only do the first 2 levels with her, and that's exactly what happened. So as soon as I saw your name, I could feel that resonation, and I called you right away. And then we did the class, and that was amazing, by the way. Her classes are fantabulous. They really, it really was.
It's interesting how many different people we get in them too. I don't know who was in your class, but I've had a firefighter, a chef.
And they do it for themselves. Like some people just come for themselves, or do they want to make this a profession?
I would say my classes were usually like 20, 30 people.
Yeah.
And I'd say more than half want to do it for themselves. Yeah. They wanted to get right into it, so they did it right. Some people are worried about getting it wrong Feng Shui. Yeah. So they wanted to make sure they got it right. And then I'd say about 10%, 20% of the people actually wanted to do it for themselves to make money. When I got into Feng Shui, when I decided to get my certificate, I went to California. I want a certificate because I'm going to start my business, and this is what I want to do, because I just loved it so much.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it for life.
And you know what? And
other people in the class were like, really? You can do this on your own? And even when I was in Malaysia, I had been doing it here and on TV and on the radio doing Feng Shui, the voice of Feng Shui for Canada. And I go to Malaysia, and somebody says there, of course I'm nobody in Malaysia, and they said, you teach it? How do you teach it? And I thought, I've been teaching it for 10 years.
Wow.
Oh, does Joey Yap let you teach it? Like,
so
nobody knows Joey Yap in Canada.
So now, do you teach outside are you planning to teach outside the country again? Are you planning to move into those, traveling again and doing those kinds of engagements?
I could be.
I hope so.
I want to start first my home base.
Yeah. Focus on you.
Focus on me. Yeah, because that's how the word starts. Everything starts in your home, in your backyard.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I remember the word you used to use in class. The word we all loved from Sharon, meandering.
Meandering, I know.
Sharon loves the word meandering. Things need to meander. That's where I learned that. Like, I love that word, but after your class, that became a word for me. Like,
energy meanders.
Energy meanders. It does. You don't want it to be stuck.
You don't want it to be stuck, and you don't want it to rush.
Yeah.
Yes, like the Goldilocks species.
Thank you so much for being here today. I truly appreciate your time, and we are going to have you back because we're going to have, like I said, a Sharon Hay Feng Shui Day for sure. So thank you so much, and we'll be back after these messages with our closing. Hi, and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody, on Messages from an Angel. Next week is going to be our Psychic Day. Again, we're going to have once a month where we have a guest psychic who works with me, and then a day where you can call in and get your private reading with, well, private, I mean, we're on the air with me. So if you want to call in, next week's the week to do it, 647-931-4701, or you can text or Facebook your comments. You can tweet our comments. You can find us pretty much anywhere. Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook. Check us out, mytcntv.com if you want to link there, raisingenergy.com. You can link to us there. You can find us pretty much anywhere, even on Instagram. It's pretty cool. So we've had an amazing time with Sharon, and we hope you join us again next week for Messages from an Angel. I'm your host, Angel Morgan. See you next week.